So ART, for people who don't know, is the American Repertory Theater. It's in Cambridge. Our mission there is to expand the boundaries of theater. And we do that by looking at classic plays and new plays. And since I've been there, we've just put musical theater into that equation, just because I believe in American musical theater as one of the most incredible art forms that we've originated in this country. And I look at ART as this opportunity to look at classic musicals and bring them into the 21st century. And in the case of Waitress, to bring people who may have not been playing in our playground and invite them to make a major contribution to the form. And it's just an incredible place for us to incubate and give artists a safe zone to begin their work. And then what's better than anything is when we get a chance to continue the work and bring it to Broadway.
Sara, you, besides being now a Broadway composer, you of course have quite a fan base as a singer-songwriter.
Thank you.
And a performer yourself, of course. Tell me how you got involved.
I got a phone call from my agent saying that there was this project that was in the works, and a director that wanted to sit down with me. And Diane and I went to lunch in Times Square, and she told me about Waitress, which was a film I hadn't seen at the time. And you were so incredibly inviting and open-minded, and I went home and watched the movie and sort of fell in love with the idea that there was more to deepen there and more to explore. I loved the world that Adrian Shelley had built, and I thought that it would be actually really beautifully musicalized. And I said yes, kind of. I had no idea what I was saying yes to, let me tell you what.
When I finally watched the film, which I had also not seen it when it came out originally, so I watched it and I thought, this has a heartbeat as a musical. The emotions of it, the fantasy, the characters, their stories to tell musically. But what I loved about that film was the independent flavor of it. It was like an indie movie. It was kind of off the beaten path and quirky, and the tone was unusual. It was really heartfelt, but really kind of irreverent. And the whole premise, this woman gets pregnant and she doesn't want her baby, and how could you not want your baby? That's supposed to be like the greatest moment of your life. But this idea that she's kind of conflicted, and it just dealt with tricky territory. So I had one immediate thought was that we should find someone who's not necessarily from the musical theater, but someone from outside who could capture that tone. And so we made a list.
Oh.
And
Adele couldn't do it.
Adele was not on that list. But Sara Bareilles was top of that list. And then lo and behold, a couple weeks later, not even, 2-3 weeks at the most, this,
that may be something.
Yes, really short. This MP3 pops in my email inbox. And it's titled, I don't know why I want to cry when I think about it, but it was like, She Used to Be Mine. I mean, if you've heard that song, you know how incredible it is. And I remember listening, it's that moment when you start a show, you're like, is this going to work? And I listened to that song, and I read your lyrics. And it was like, she's got it. She gets it. And then off to the races.
Thank you.
Well, they had actually been working together for a while before I came aboard. The idea that Sara and Diane were involved was, kind of a dream come true for me. And Sara's music, I had the same reaction that Diane did. It was just so undeniably beautiful and powerful. And I met with Diane and Sara, and I felt an immediate connection to both of them and began working. And the challenge for us, sort of, along the way, is the medium of film is just so different than theater. In film, you have the cut to, and you have the close-up, and you have a whole language that isn't in theater. And so it's how to take such a beautiful movie and turn it into a musical. Obviously, it's just so delicate when someone has created such a beautiful film, and then also that they've passed away. Inside your heart, you want to honor them at such a deep level and kind of keep their legacy moving forward. So that was a big part of it for me.
I just am remembering kind of at the very beginning of this entire process, it literally was us sitting with the screenplay, watching the film, and having discussions along the way of just either there was some really sweet line that to me sparked the idea of, oh, there's an opportunity to extrapolate something more out of that, or a moment that needed, you know, more exploration, I suppose. And it was very collaborative from the beginning.
You know, in film, you can write a 2 or 3 page scene. You go, oh, this is going to be a great scene. And often in theater, you write it, and by the time it gets sculpted directorially, and with Sara and everything, you're down to like 2 lines that launch the song. And you know, you're really deeply in service of the music. And so once I made peace with that, then it's actually an extraordinary experience. But it's like, really? We're going to reduce that to those 2 lines? All right. Okay, but it's, you know, it's true, because if you say too much of it in the scene, then what's the purpose of the song? So the scene has to lead you to the point where the character needs to process it through song. So it's, you know, it's a whole other world here.
I don't think I've ever done a show at ART where people would grab me. It was always young women, you know, college-age kids right out of college that would sort of grab me in the aisle and say, this is so important. Thank you for telling this story. This is the kind of musical that you know, so much through Sara's brilliant music and lyrics, I feel like we have not talked about her lyrics enough, which are just incredible, just speaks to people. It speaks to the messiness of life. I think Jessie Mueller talks about this all the time. You know, this is a musical that just deals with the pain and how hard it can feel, and then how you find your voice, how you learn to nurture it, how you learn to, through female friendship, find that voice and own it. Before we started, again, work after ART, I went Googling Oh, She Used to Be Mine, because I knew the album came out and I knew you had put out a video. And there, video after video after video of people at the piano playing this song. And they're not just women. It's guys, it's people of all different types transporting themselves through the song. And I just thought that's an incredible moment. I know.
You heard it when we walked up. Well, you can hear it on the radio, which is crazy to think of with this musical, with Hamilton topping the rap charts. I mean, when was the last time a cast album did that? I mean, it's just, there's so much crossover that is so thrilling. So that's cool.
Amazing.
I'll end with,
Oh, shut up, all right. I wasn't planning on this, but... Or was I? It's not simple to say. Most days I don't recognize me. These shoes and this apron, that place and its patrons have taken more than I gave them. It's not easy to know I'm not anything like I used to be, although it's true I was never attention's sweet center. I still remember that girl. She's imperfect, but she tried. She is good, but she lies. She is hard on herself. She is broken and won't ask for help. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be mine. And it's not what I asked for. Sometimes life just slips in through a back door and carves out a person and makes you believe it's all true. And now I've got you, and you're not what I asked for. If I'm honest, I know I would give it all back for a chance to start over and rewrite an ending or two. For the girl that I knew who'll be reckless just enough, who'll get hurt, but who learns how to toughen up when she's bruised and gets used by a man who can't love. And then she'll get stuck and be scared of the life that's inside her, growing stronger each day, till it finally reminds her to fight just a little, to bring back the fire in her eyes that's been gone but used to be mine. Used to be mine. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be mine.